Today I'm back in one of my favourite food cities in the whole world, Saigon, Vietnam. But today I'm outside of busy D1 and D3 where the tourists usually stay. I'm in leafy, quiet, suburban Thao Dien in District 2. But can I find some authentic Vietnamese street food in this expat enclave? Of course I can. Let's go. So this is really nice for me to just be able to get out and walk about an area that I haven't been to before in Saigon. It's very, very quiet compared to the rest of, I say the rest of Ho Chi Minh, say District 1, District 3, which is where I'd usually stay. It's much, much more quiet than that. Hardly any cars, any bikes at all down these back roads, which if you've been to Saigon and you've been to D1 and D3, D4 even, I stayed last time, you'll know that's a bit of a rarity. So this is actually rush hour traffic. So usually if you're in D1, this is just like bikes going past every 2 seconds, beep, 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 beep. But yeah, I could definitely get used to this. But can we find some authentic Vietnamese food? That is the question. Alright guys, so we've got this Bun Rêu and Banh Mi shop just down this little side alley that's come highly recommended. This is apparently a Hoi An style Banh Mi Vietnamese baguette. And I think I've just struck gold here, guys. So we've got pate, we've got that butter, the sauce that we saw in Hoi An, some sausage, we got some char red pork, homemade pate, mint, Thai basil, loads of different herbs. And we've got the pickles in there, that lovely crusty bread. And this is all going for 20,000. They also sell Bun Rêu, the rice noodles. We might grab some of that as well. Just daikon here, no carrots. Look at that. So pate, we've got that butter. Roast pork. And then she's going to stick it in the air fryer. Hello, hello. All right, so you can sit down. We might sit down. I might grab a Bun Rêu as well. Wait for that Bun Bo shop to open. Look at that, crispy as you like. We're going to pack it full of the herbs. I say we, I'm not doing anything, am I? Daikon. Some of the sauce, that barbecue sauce, and chilli. What an absolute donut. I've changed bags and I've left my wallet back at the apartment, so I couldn't even pay for it. But told the lady I've forgotten my wallet and she's let me come back later on. Anyway, guys, let's check this banh mi out. Okay, so this is apparently a Hoi An style banh mi. I'll have to be honest, controversial. I did not enjoy the banh mi that I had in Hoi An. I had two from the two famous ones and I really didn't enjoy them at all. But this one looks really, really good. We've got all the herbs, laksa herb, rau tom, and a few other bits and pieces. So because she's been so nice to me, I would probably big up her baguette anyway, but that for me, that is absolutely perfect. The pate, the meat, the fresh crunchy veg, and those herbs and those chilies. It's like, in the West, it's like a ham salad on steroids. Oh, Exactly what I was looking for my first banh mi back in Vietnam. So I've got to be honest, after yesterday, that was not what I was expecting, because we got here late in the afternoon, had a little wander around, and we just walked down this sort of main street here, around all the condo buildings, and there's a mall there, there's a mall across the road. I was just thinking, I'm never going to find any decent food. Not saying decent food, but most of it is like Western and bistro style and sit-down restaurants, sort of upmarket coffee shops, which I like, but you know what I mean. I came to Vietnam to eat some Vietnamese food, and I was worried I wasn't going to get any, but like where I live in Bangkok, you just walk off the main strip anywhere you are and you're going to find some decent, authentic food for sure. So guys, I should take my own advice and just get off the main drags and get out and explore, because there's always some goodies to be found. Thank you. You've got to love Vietnam. Look, this guy's just pulled up, selling veg off the back of a truck. Right next to that is our second spot. Bun Bo. Xin chào. Xin chào. All right, so we're back. I came here and did a live yesterday, so she remembers me from yesterday. I wish you could smell this stock, guys. All I can smell is like heavy, heavy shrimp paste, lemongrass. The colour of this. Yeah, we've got some pandan in there. I think some winter melon as well. And these are the bun. The bun are the noodles. Bun. Bun.
Chị làm cho em một bịch 5.000 nữa đi để riêng sợ không no cái nước thêm vô.
Alright, so this is definitely my kind of place. I'm a little bit out of my comfort zone because I don't speak Vietnamese. I've kind of learned to say one bowl. That's about as far as I've got. Obviously when I'm back in Thailand, when I'm back in Bangkok, I can just speak, so it's a lot easier for me. But we are speaking, Auntie and I are speaking the language of food, the language of Bun Bo. So I think we're going to get on just fine. She's super, super friendly. I think she thinks this is really funny that I'm filming, but she's doing her best to run me through exactly what we're having. See what we've got, guys. So yesterday I came and I got some different pieces of beef. I think she's giving me a mixed bowl today. All right, so yeah, so these are the pieces. I'll try and show you in a minute. Now I'm trying to work out where this is from, which part of the cow this is from, because the pieces in the window almost look like beef jerky. It looks like they sort of, I mean, they're cooked down, but they look almost dried. And then she pops them in back in the soup, and they like kind of like rejuvenate, rehydrate if you want, and they kind of puff up. So I think it's near the belly, near the brisket, but back towards the ribs, I think. But anyone who can correct me, please do, because we've got a piece of bone here. We've got a piece of bone here. To me, looks like the spine, looks like the back of the cow. But anyway, we know it's going to be full of flavour. We've got some char, the Vietnamese sausage. Those bun that I showed you earlier, some spring onions, some sawtooth coriander, and that beautiful, beautiful soup. Look at the colour of that. Right, and then we've got our herbs. So we've got blanched bean sprouts and morning glory or water spinach. And then this, at first, I thought was Thai basil. It's definitely not. It's a type of mint. we're going to call it Vietnamese mint. If anyone can tell me what this is actually called, thank you so much. Okay, and with any bun bo, you're going to get satay. Satay is not what we call satay in where I'm from. This is a spicy mix of dried chilies, loads and loads of lemongrass, shallots, and garlic. So we're going to add a nice dollop of that in. We've also got, as always, some fresh limes. So let's go in with those. We're going with 2. Then some chilies in fish sauce. Let's get it all mixed up. I've made such a mess here. Right, I'm going to put these 2 beef bones on there for a minute. I'll chew those afterwards. And we'll go for a piece of that soft, I'm gonna say brisket. They're soft, but there's a bite to it because there's like a layer of sinew around the beef, that's why I thought it might be the middle of a piece of beef rib, but I don't think it is. I think it's a cut I'm unfamiliar with, but I think it's a cut near the brisket. Right. There's a really hefty amount of like connective tissue, but it's obviously been stewed down for hours, so it is literally so soft with the most incredible beef flavour imaginable. The reason I love bun bo so much, as opposed to say pho, for instance, is just how complex the soup is. Heavy on the lemongrass. It's spicy. It's got a big hit of mum tom, which is shrimp paste. It's got the most amazing savoury flavour, but it's also, as I said, spicy, a little bit acidic. I love the texture and crunch you get from the shredded morning glory. The way she's cut it up, because where I live, we usually have it just chopped into pieces, but sliced up like this is amazing. The lemongrass, and I've just spoken about the lemongrass is so pronounced, especially once you add this satay as well, because this is extra lemongrass, extra chili. I could just eat this, I think, with a spoon, which I'm gonna do. Yeah. Onions, garlic, and just loads and loads of chili and lemongrass. Lemongrass, one of my favourite flavourings in the world, which is probably why I love this soup so much. If you've not had these noodles before, they're rice noodles, thin-ish, round noodles. I'd say, I don't know, if you've not had them before, kind of similar to udon noodles, but they're made of rice, not with wheat. Incredible. All right. Vietnamese sausage, just for an extra bit of protein. That is delicious. So, Vietnamese sausage, I used to stay away from because I thought it was like a processed sausage, like a hot dog. Then when I found out, oh, she knows I like the herbs. She's just giving me another bowl of herbs. We'll get them in. This mint is unbelievable. So yes, this is what I call Vietnamese mint. Apologies, guys. I will learn some more Vietnamese by the time I come back next time. It's like a peppery mint. It's like a spicy mint. Very nice. Yeah, more of this morning glory. More of my veg. Get my 5 a day in. Sorry, where was I? I was talking about Vietnamese sausage, wasn't I? Yeah, so I used to stay away from these. Then I found out that actually, how they make it, they pound up lean pork mince with some sort of starch, like potato starch, I think, might be rice flour, correct me if I'm wrong. Salt, pepper, and a bit of sugar, I think some fish sauce. And then they make that into a paste and they wrap it in banana leaves and they boil the banana leaves. They boil the whole sausage, sorry, in the banana leaf, and that's where it comes out this like springy, squidgy consistency. Very good. All right, next up I'm gonna try a bit of the beef bone, and this is where I think it's like come off the sort of back. This looks like, to me, like a bit of spine, but we'll see. We know that this is gonna be full of flavor. Like, you've got that lovely piece of fat on the corner. Anything this close to the bone is going to be absolutely packed full of flavour. Not only is it absolutely melts in your mouth, it's actually taken on all the flavours from the soup. So it's like a lemongrassy, citrusy piece of beef fat. Unbelievable.
cho con thêm một cái thịt cho heo ơi. Giờ lấy luôn hả cô?
Ngon. Thank you. Cảm ơn. Bye bye. Oh. Ngon. Thank you, bye-bye. So for me, this is what street food is all about, not just in Vietnam, but anywhere. It's a place that just sells one or two things and just sells it for years and years and years, been cooking it for years and has just absolutely perfected it. I love Vietnam in particular because I just love the buzz, even out here in D2 where it's not anywhere near as busy as like D1 or D3 as I keep talking about, where I usually stay D4, which I've stayed. It's nowhere near that busy, but it's still very, very buzzy. You've got these little tiny red plastic chairs that we're out sitting on that's far too small for a big fat frame like mine, but I absolutely love it. And there is food absolutely everywhere. As I said, Auntie doesn't speak English. Obviously, I don't speak any Vietnamese pretty much, but we seem to have struck up some sort of bond and relationship just because she knows how much I love her soup and how interested I am in her and her shop. So she just told me she's been here through Translate for 6 years, but she's been cooking this dish since she was a child. So this is one of the most unique versions of this I've had just because of the cut of beef in it. As I said in my live stream, I'm still in like a honeymoon period with Vietnamese food. So, and I know you guys here in Vietnam, a lot of you don't like me comparing Vietnam and Thai food. That's not what I'm doing, but I am a Thai food vlogger, I guess you'd call it. So it's only natural that I'm going to not say which one's better, but you know, it's only natural that I'm going to kind of make comparisons here and there. But what I will say is, because I've been in Bangkok for 7 years, I'm so like picky about the dishes that I eat. So even if I get something basic like a pad kapao or kway teow, a noodle soup or something, I'll be like, oh, you know what, I don't really like this version that much because it's a bit heavy on the dark soy sauce, or there's not enough garlic, or there's not enough chili, this one's a little bit too sweet. Whereas with Vietnamese food, because of like Bun Bo, for instance, I've only eaten about 10 to 15 of these in my life. So I haven't eaten enough to like really start dissecting the differences between each bowl. I'm starting to now, like I can tell this one's got more shrimp paste and a lot more lemongrass than the one I had last time. So I'm starting to enjoy it, but I'm still pretty much enjoying every bowl. Unless it's really, really bad, I'm like enjoying every bowl of everything I'm having, which is heaven for me. So I'm gonna continue to enjoy my Bun Bo and all the other dishes I'm gonna eat. I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I hope you are gonna come down here. If you do stay in D2 in one of these condos in this little sort of suburban bubble, I hope you come out and try and find some authentic Vietnamese food. All right, that's it for me today, guys. I've got one more Vietnam video coming up with my boys, so make sure you tune in for that. And for everyone else that's back in Thailand, I will see you in a few days. All right, stay safe, guys. Mwah.